Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Chapter 9. Shri Shuka Uvacha Atma Mayamrute Rajan Parasyanubhavatmanaha Nagatetartha Sambandha Swapna Društurivancha Swapna Drashturivanjasa. Sri Sukadeva Goswami said, O king, unless one is influenced by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there is no meaning to the relationship of the poor soul in poor consciousness with the material body. That relationship is just like a dreamer seeing his own body working. Bahurupa iva bhati Mayaya bahurupaya ramamano gunoshvasya mamahamiti manyate. The illusion living entity appears in so many forms offered by the external energy of the Lord. While enjoying in the modes of the material nature, the encaged living entity misconceives, thinking in terms of I and mine. आत्मतत्त्वविशुद्धर्थं यदाह भवनानृतं ब्रह्मणे दर्शयन् रूपम् अव्यलीकव्रताधृतः. O King, the personality of Godhead, being very much pleased with Lord Brahma because of his non-deceptive penance in Bhakti Yoga, presented his eternal and transcendental form before Brahma, and that is the objective goal of purifying the conditioned soul. Sa Adidevo Jagatam Paro Guruhu Swadhishyanyamastaaya Visruksha Yaikshata Tam Nadhyagachrad Drishamatra Sammatam Prapancha Nirmana Vidhiryaya Bhavet. Lord Brahma, the first spiritual master, supreme in the universe, could not trace out of the source of his lotus seat, and while thinking of creating the material world, he could not understand the proper direction of such creative work, nor could he find out the process of such creation. Sachintayan dhyaksharamekadambhas Yupashrunod dvirgatitam vacho vibhuhu Sparsheshu yatyoshada shomakam visham Nishkanchananam drupayadhanam viduhu. While thus engaged in thinking in the water, Brahmaji heard twice from nearby 2 syllables joined together. One of the syllable was taken from the 16th and the other from the 21st of the Sparsha alphabets, and both joined to become the wealth of the renowned order of life. Tapa, that's what they're talking. Tapas. He was telling, do tapas. Nishamya tadvakruti drikshayadhisho Vilokya yatranyada pashyamanaha swadhishnyamasthaya vimrushya tadvitam tapasyupadishta ivadadhe manaha. When he heard the sound, he tried to find the speaker, searching on all sides, but when he was unable to find anyone besides himself, he thought it wise to sit down on his lotus seat firmly and give his attention to the execution of penance, and he was as he was instructed. दिव्यं सहस्रब्धममोघदर्शनो जितानिलात्मा विजितो भयोन्द्रियः अतप्यतस्मार् अतप्यतस्मारिललोकतापनं तपस्तपीयां स्तपतां समाहितः. Lord Brahma underwent penances for 1000 years by the calculations of the demigods. He thought this transcendental vibration from the sky and he accepted it as divine. He heard this transcendental vibration from the sky and he accepted it as divine. Thus, he controlled his mind and senses, and the penances he executed were a great lesson for the living entities. Thus, he is known as the greatest of all ascetics. Tasmai swalokam bhagavan sabhajitah sandarshayamasa param nayat param vyapota sanklesha vimoha sadvasam swadhrishtavadbhir purushairabhishtutam. The personality of Godhead, being thus very much satisfied with the penance of the Lord Brahma, was pleased to manifest his personal abode, Vaikunta, the supreme planet above all others. This transcendental abode of the Lord is adored by all realized persons, freed from all kinds of miseries and fear of illusionary existence. पर्वर्तते यत्र यजस्तमस्तयोः सत्वं च मिक्षं न च कालविक्रमः न यत्र माया विमुता परे हरे रनुव्रता यत्र सुरासुरार्चिताः. In that personal abode of the Lord, the material modes of ignorance and the passion do not prevail, nor is there any of their influence in goodness. There is no predominance of influence of time. So, what to speak of illusionary external energy? It cannot enter the religion. It cannot enter the region. Without discrimination, both the demigods and the demons worship the Lord as devotees. श्यामावदाता शतपत्रलोचनाः पिशङ्गवक्त्रा सुरुचः सुपेशसः सर्वे चतुर्बाहव उन्मिषन्मणि प्रवेकनिष्काभरणा सुवर्चसः. The inhabitants of the Vaikunta planets are described as having a glowing sky bluish complexion. Their eyes resemble lotus flowers, their dress is of a yellowish color, and their bodily features very attractive. They are just the age of growing youths. They all have 4 hands. They are all nicely decorated with pearl necklaces, with ornamental medallions, and they all appear to be effulgent. Pravala Vaidhurya Mrunala Varchasaha Parispurat Kundala Maulimalinaha. Some of them are effulgent like coral and diamonds in complexion and have garlands on their heads, glowing like lotus flowers, and some wear earrings. Brajishnubhiryah parito virajate lasadvimanavali bhirmahatmanam vidyotamanah pradadottamadhubihi savidyudabravali bhiryatatam nabah. The Vaikunta planets are also surrounded by various airplanes, all glowing and brilliantly situated. These airplanes belong to the great Mahatmas or devotees of the Lord. The ladies are as beautiful as lightning because of their celestial complexions, and all these combined together appear just like the sky decorated with both clouds and lightning. श्रीयत्र रूपिण्युरुघाय पादयोः करोति मानं बहुधा विभूतिभिः प्रेङ्कं प्रेङ्खं श्रिता या कुसुमाकरानुगैर्विगीयमाना प्रियकर्म घायति. The goddess of fortune, in her transcendental form, is engaged in the loving service of the Lord's lotus feet, and being moved by black bees, followers of spring, she is not even engaged in variegated pleasure, service to the Lord, along with her constant companions, but is also engaged in singing the glories of the Lord's activities. ददर्श तत्राखिल सात्वतां पतिं श्रियः पतिं यज्ञपतिं जगत्पतिं प्रबलार्हणाधिभिः स्वपार्षदाग्रैः परिसेवितं विभुम्. Lord Brahma saw in the Vaikunta planets the personality of Godhead, who is the Lord of the entire devotee community, the Lord of the goddess of fortune, the Lord of all sacrifices, and the Lord of the universe, and who is served by the foremost servitors like Nanda, Sunanda, Prabala, and Arhana, his immediate associates. मृत्यप्रसादाभिमुखं दृघासवम् प्रसन्नहासारुणलोचनाननं किरीटिनं कुण्डलिनं चतुर्भुजं पीतांशुकं वक्ष्यसि लक्षितं श्रिया. The personality of Godhead, seen leaningly favorable towards his loving servitors. His very sight, intoxicating and attractive, appeared to be very much satisfied. He had a smiling face decorated with an enchanting reddish hue. He was dressed in yellow robes and wore earrings and a helmet on his head. He had 4 hands and his chest was marked with lines of goddess of fortune. अद्यर्हणीयासनमास्तितं परं वृतं चतुष्षोडश पञ्चशक्तिभिः युक्तं भगैस्वैरितरत्रचाध्रुवैः स्वयेव धामन् रममाणमीश्वरम्. The Lord was seated on his throne and was surrounded by different energies like the 4, the 6, and the 5, and the 6 natural opulences, along with other insignificant energies of the temporary character. But he was the factual Supreme Lord, enjoying his own abode. तद्दर्शनाह्लादपरिप्लुतान्तरो हृष्यन्तनुः प्रेमभराश्रुलोचनः ननाम पादाम्बुजमय्य विश्वसृग यत्पारमहंस्येन पथादिगम्यते. Lord Brahma, thus seeing the personality of Godhead in his fullness, was overwhelmed with joy within his heart, and thus in full transcendental love and ecstasy, his eyes filled with tears of love, he thus bowed down before the Lord. That is the way of the highest perfection of the living being, Paramahamsa. Tam priyamanam samupastitam kavim prajavisarge nijashasanarhanam babhasha ishat smita shochita Chisha gira priyaf priyam pritamanah kare sprushan. And seeing Brahma present before him, the Lord accepted him as worthy to create living beings to be controlled as he desired, and thus being much satisfied with him, the Lord shook hands with Brahma and slightly smiling addressed him thus. श्रीभगवानुवाच त्वया त्वयाहं तोषितः सम्यग् वेदगर्भविसृक्षया चिरं भृतेन तपसा दुस्तोषः कूटयोगिनाम्. The beautiful personality of Godhead addressed Lord Brahma. O Brahma, impregnated with the Vedas, I am very much pleased with your loving, accumulated penance, with the desire for creation. Hardly am I pleased with the pseudo mystics. Varam varaya bhadram te varesham mabhivanchitam brahman shreyah parishramah pumsam saddarshanavadihi. I wish you good luck, O Brahma. You may ask from me, the giver of all benediction, all that you may desire. You may know that the ultimate benedictions as a result of all penances is to see me by realization. Manishitaanubhavoyam mama lokavalokanam yadrupashrutya rahasi chakarta paramam tapaha. The highest perfectional ingenuity is the personal perception of my abodes, and this has been possible because of your submissive attitude in the performance of severe penance according to my order. Pratyadishtam maya tatra त्वयि कर्म विमोहिते तपो मे हृदयं साक्षात् आत्माहं तपसो नघ. O sinless Brahma, you may know from me that it was I who first ordered you to undergo penance when you are perplexed in your duty. Such penance is my heart and soul, and therefore penance and I are non-different. Srujami tapasaivedam grasami tapasa punaha bibharmi tapasa vishwam viryam me drushcharam tapaha. I create this cosmos by such penance. I maintain it by the same energy, and I withdraw it all by the same energy. Therefore, the potential power is penance only. Brahmovacha Bhagavan Sarvabhutanam Adyaksho Vastito Gruham Vedahya Pratiruddena Prajnanena Chikirshitam. Lord Brahma said, O personality of Godhead, you are situated in every living entity's heart as the supreme director, and therefore you are aware of all endeavors by your superior intelligence without any hindrance whatsoever. Tatapi natamanasya natanatayanatitam paravareyata rupe janiyam te swarupinah. In spite of that, my Lord, I am praying to you to kindly fulfill my desire. May I please be informed how, in spite of your transcendental form, you assume the mundane form, although you have no such form at all. Yatatmamaya yogena nana shaktyupabhrumhitam vilumpan Visrujan Grihnan Bibраdatmanam. And please inform me how you, by your own self, manifest different energies for annihilation, generation, acceptance, and maintenance by combination and permutation. क्रीडस्यामोघसङ्कल्पः ऊर्णनाभिर्यतोर्नुते तथा तद्विषयां देहि मनीषां मयि माधव. O Master of all energies, please tell me philosophically all about them. You play like a spider that covers itself by its own energy, and your determination is infallible. भगवच्चिक्षितमहं करवाणि हृतन्द्रितः नेहमानः प्रजासर्गं भद्येयं यदनुग्रहात्. Please tell me so that I may be taught in the manner by the instruction of the personality of Godhead and may thus act instrumentally to generate living entities without being conditioned by such activities. Yavat sakasakyuriveshate kritaha praja visarge vibhajami bhojanam aviklavaste parikarmani stito maase mame mamunnadhamado jamaninaha. O my Lord, the unborn, you have unshaken hands. You have shaken hands with me just as a friend does with a friend, and if equal in position, I shall be engaged in the creation of different types of living entities, and I shall be occupied in your service. I shall have no perturbation, but I pray that all this may not give rise to pride, as if I were the supreme. ज्ञानं परमगुह्यं ते यद्विज्ञानसमन्वितं सरहस्यं तदङ्गं च गृहाणगदितं मया. The personality of Godhead said, knowledge about me, as described in the scriptures, is very confidential, and it has to be realized in conjunction with the devotional service. The necessary paraphernalia for that process is being explained by me. You may take it up carefully. Yavanaham yata bhavo yadrupagunakarmakah tataiva tattva vijnanam astute madanugrahat. All of me, namely my actual eternal form and my transcendental existence, color, qualities, and activities, let all be awakened within you by factual realization out of my causeless mercy. Ahame vasamevagre nan yad sadasatparam paschadaham yadet taccha yo vashishyeta sosmyaham. Brahma, it is I, the personality of Godhead, who was existing before the creation when there was nothing but myself, nor was there the material nature, the cause of this creation. That which you see now is also I, the personality of Godhead, and after annihilation, what remains will be I, the personality of Godhead. Rutertam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tadvidyadhatmano mayam yata bhaso yatha tamaha. O Brahma, whatever appears to be of any value, if it is without relation to me, has no reality. Know it as my illusionary energy, that reflection which appears to be in the darkness. Yata mahanti bhutani bhutashuchavacheshvanu pravishtan yapravishtani tata teshu nateshvaha. O Brahma, please know that the universal elements enter into the cosmos and at the same time do not enter into cosmos. Similarly, I myself also exist within everything created and at the same time I am outside of everything. ये तावदेव जिज्ञास्तं तत्त्वजिज्ञासूनात्मनः अन्वयव्यवति अन्वयव्यतिरेकाम्या अन्वयव्यतिरेकाभ्यां यत्स्यात् सर्वत्र सर्वदा. A person who is searching after the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, most certainly search for it up to this, in all circumstances, in all space and time, and both directly and indirectly. एतन्मतं समातिष्ठ परमेण समाधिना भवान् कल्पविकल्पेषु न विमुह्यति कर्हिचित्. O Brahma, just follow this conclusion by fixed concentration of mind, and no pride will disturb you, neither in the partial nor in the final devastation. श्रीशुक उवाच सम्प्रदिश्यैव मजनो जनानां परमेष्टिनं पश्यतस्तस्य तद्रूपम् आत्मनोऽन्यरुणाद्धरिः. Shukadeva Goswami said to Maharaja Parikshit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, after being seen in his transcendental form, instructing Brahmaji, the leader of the living entities, disappeared. Antarhitendriyartaya haraye vihitanjalihi sarvabhutamayo vishwam samarjedam sapurvavat. On the disappearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, who is the object of transcendental enjoyment for senses of the devotees, Brahma, with folded hands, began to recreate the universe full with living entities as it was previously. Prajapatir Ekada niyamanyam badram prajanaman vichan natishtat swartha kamyaya. Thus, once upon a time, the forefather of the living entities and the father of religiousness, Lord Brahma, situated himself in the acts of regulative principles, desiring self-interest for the welfare of all living entities. Tam naradah priyatamo riktadanamanuvratah susrushamana shriloke prashrayena damena cha. Narada, the most dear of the inheritor sons of Brahma, always ready to serve his father, strictly follows the instructions of his father by his mannerly behavior, meekness, and self-control. Mayam vividishan Vishnor mayeshasya mahamunihi mahabhagavato rajan pitaram paryatoshayat. Narada, very much pleased his father and desired to know all about the energies of Vishnu, the master of all energies, For Narada was the greatest of all sages and greatest of all devotees, O king. तुष्टं निशम्य पितरं लोकानां प्रपितामहं देवर्षिः परिपप्रच्छ भगवान् यन्मना पृच्छति. The great sage Narada also inquired in detail from his father Brahma, the great grandfather of all the universe, after seeing him well satisfied. Tasma idam bhagavatam puranam dashalakshanam proktam bhagavata praha preetif putraya bhutakrit. Thereupon, the supplementary Vedic literature, Shrimad Bhaghavatam, which was described by the personality of Godhead and which contains 10 characteristics, was told with satisfaction by the father Brahma to his son Narada. Naradav praha munaye saraswatyastate nrupa dhyayate brahma paramam vyasayamita tejase. In succession, O king, the great sage Narada instructed Shrimad Bhagavatam unto the unlimitedly powerful Vyasadeva, who meditated in devotional service upon the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, on the bank of river Saraswati. This ends the chapter entitled... doesn't end. Yadutaham tvaya prushto vairajat purushadhidam yatasi tadupakyaste prashnananyams chakrutsnashah. O king, your questions as to how the universe became manifested from the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead O king, your questions as to how the university became manifested from the gigantic form of the personality of Godhead, as well as other questions, I shall answer in detail by explanation of the 4 verses already mentioned. Thus ends the chapter entitled Answers by citing Lord's Version. Answers by citing the Lord's Version. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.